slaves, but we decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. Britain under William Pitt Earl of Chatham did it. America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. Because when the history of my suffering is complete, future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. After my enemies are satisfied, in life or death I shall come back to serve even as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foes of African liberty. Than me to be the real Marcus Garvey I would like to be. If I may come in an earthquake or a cyclone or a plague or pestilence or as God would have me, then be assured that I shall never desert you and make your enemies triumph over you. If I should die in prison in Atlanta, my work shall not only just begin, but I shall live in the physical or the spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black, and the green around me. For in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessings to lead the millions up the heights of triumph in the colors that you well know. Look for me in the world when there are storms. Look for me all around you. For I shall come back and bring with me countless millions of black slaves who have died in America, who have died in the West Indies, and millions who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life. The world today has gone drunk and crazy with its power, and by such through injustice, fraud, and lies have crushed the unfortunate. But if I'm crushed by the system of influence and misdirected power, my cause shall rise again to plague the conscience of the corrupt. For this I'm happy to suffer and even die, but I will write the history for the millions that are coming and leave the posterity to reckon with the host for the deeds of their fathers. If fathers laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. They have no more right to dishonor, disrespect, and disregard your feeling in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you, disrespect and disregard them when they vilely treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of...
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. Good afternoon. You're listening to The Proven Truth. You're tuning to The Proven Truth with your brother and host, Anthony Brown. Coming to you live from the studios of Radio Gumbo Creole here in the beautiful territory of New Orleans, Louisiana. To all our kings and queens, much love. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this contract, this constitution, this document for who? For them, the United States of America, for them politicians. All government of rights originates with the people and is founded on their will alone, and is instituted to protect the rights of the individual and for the good of the whole. Its only legitimate ends are to secure justice for all, preserve peace, protect the rights, and promote the happiness and general welfare of the masses. We, the people. Family, today in the studio we have with us, many of you know this esteemed gentleman, this warrior, this civil rights icon, this brother, this teacher, this historian. This is a brother who don't only talk the talk, but he also walk the walk. This is one of the few elder statesmen that's still around, who, a matter of fact, who have been doing this type of work and been putting voice on this issue for quite some time, to the point where he has been recognized publicly for his contribution, for his efforts, for his work in the whole civil rights movement. This is a brother who we choose to call our friend, our teacher, our elder. We are talking about Mr. Carl Goldman. Welcome, my brother.
It's a pleasure to be on this show again, The Proven Truth.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's always a pleasure to have you here, my brother. Always a pleasure to have you here. Okay, Carl, we're going to be talking today about gerrymandering in Louisiana.
Gerrymandering.
Mandarin, yeah.
Okay, here in Louisiana.
Right.
So a lot of folks, they don't understand, you know, the truth behind gerrymandering. Gerrymandering is drawing district lines,
Right.
to show favor towards another party that will systematically exclude African Americans and other minorities.
Okay.
And so here in Louisiana, this state is the worst state probably in America by drawing district lines to keep African Americans from reaching their potential in politics. You see, I clearly understand in America there's only two kinds of power: economic power and political power. And many of our young brothers and sisters don't understand that. But you take a look at Louisiana. Let's take a look at the population in the state. Louisiana has less than 5 million people. But when you look at the population, whites make up 56% of the population.
Okay.
Minorities make up 44% of the population in this state. Let me break those minorities down. African Americans make up 32%, Hispanic 6%, Asian 3%, and Native American 3%. Among minorities, they make up 44% of the population here in Louisiana. But when you look at the elected officials in this state, it's a different story. The lines are drawn to benefit whites in this state. Now let me break these statistics down for you. Now, U.S. senators run statewide. You got 2 senators, there are no blacks, both are white. Now, U.S. congressional district seats, we got 6 seats, congressional district seats. We got 5 Republican, 1 Democrat. That 1 Democrat is Cedric Richmond.
Cedric Richmond.
Right.
Right.
Now, this is a very important office. State Supreme Court judges, there are 7 seats, 1 black. State senators, there are 39 seats and 9 blacks. State representatives, 105 seats, 24 blacks. Now, a lot of people don't understand the importance of the Bessie Board. They control one of the largest budgets in this state. That's the Louisiana Board of Education for the state of Louisiana.
Right.
There are 11 seats, only 2 blacks. Now, judges in this state, whites make up 78% of the judges, blacks only 22%. Now, how can you be 56% of the state population, but you occupy 78% of the judgeship seats? And this is why Louisiana leads the nation in incarceration of black males. And it just changed it from a verdict of 10-2 to a unanimous verdict for a felony. And in these rural parishes, the most you're going to get on a jury before they rescind it, this so-called 10-2 verdict, is 2 blacks.
All right.
So 10 whites can vote to convict a black male, and 2 blacks on the jury can vote not to convict, but he ends up going to prison. Okay, so this is how there's disparity here in this state, how it come down to the justice system.
Okay, so let's break this down a minute, Carl. So when we speak about gerrymandering, right, Mandarin, we're actually speaking about the way how these politicians go about dividing a certain
drawing the district line.
Drawing the district line
To favor white people.
To favor white people.
Right.
Not necessarily to favor a specific political party, but
well, the Republican Party is the party that's in power in this state.
Okay.
So the Republican Party, they have a monopoly on drawing district lines. After the census, they're going to prepare the census for 1920.
Okay.
In 1921, they're going to begin to draw the district lines. We have to educate our people to be at the table, to make sure they don't gerrymander these districts to take away our political power. That's what we should be concerned about, is drawing district lines. There's an old Jim Crow tactic in this state, which is called packing and cracking. So for example, if you had a black community where you can elect 2 black representatives, if you drew districts 60% in each district, what these white racists will do, they'll pack one district, make it 80% white, to cut down on your chances of getting the second seat. Okay? That's called packing.
Right.
Cracking is when there's a black community, you might be able to elect 3 city councilmen. What they would do, they would chop the district up and crack it up and divide it up. Okay? When they draw district lines. What they would do, maybe put 40% of that black community in part of a white district.
Okay, I got it.
Cut down on the number of seats.
Right.
You should be able to elect 3, but they cut it down and put 40% in the white district where you can only elect 2 seats. That's called cracking. Drawing the district lines to divide up the district, the community. And if, for example, take New Orleans, that's where we live at. We should have 2 state representative seats out there. The population, we got over 70,000 people that live in New Orleans East. So they draw those district lines where we cannot get 2 seats. That covers New Orleans East. In fact, one of the seats that we part of runs all the way to the lower ninth ward. When you can draw 2 seats and encompass New Orleans East. So that's some of the games that they play in drawing these district lines. So we don't get a true representation of New Orleans East. When somebody is occupying part of New Orleans East and part of lower ninth ward, that's what you call elongated district. Okay? So we want compact districts where it'd be easy for the councilman to be able to interface with his constituents in New Orleans East. Not worried about where in the lower ninth ward. We want them to represent our area.
So let me ask you something. So when they draw this district line, let's stick with our neck of the woods, New Orleans East and the lower ninth ward. It was drawn in such a way, right, that that you get less representation.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Diluting your power.
Right. Okay. So, in one case, it's supposed to be you're supposed to have more representatives within certain district, but the way they draw the line, you have less. So what happened right now? Let's say out there in the east, we're supposed to actually have 2 state representatives.
Right, it's 70,000 people about that.
Right, and we only have 1. So that state representative have more grounds to cover, or more people to attend to, to listen to, or to represent in a situation where there's supposed to be at least 2.
Well, he should be taken to the care of business.
Right.
Where he live, where he represent.
Right.
New Orleans East should be a compact district.
Right.
Because people live not close together.
Right.
And what they would do, take a district and make an elongated district to run from New Orleans East to the lower ninth ward.
Right.
Jimmy Harris, I think, is the representative of that district.
Right.
When we should have 2 districts. You can draw 2 districts from Diamond Road to the Wrigley's.
Right.
It's easy to draw 2 representative districts, see that.
Right.
Okay? You got a person representing Lower Ninth Ward and Punch Drain Park and representing part of New Orleans East.
Right.
But we should have our 2 representatives there. We should have our own councilman here.
You know, you talk about that. You talk about that, Carla, and I find it really interesting, you know, because it's the same way when when Cedric Richmond was running for re-election a few months ago, right?
Yes, sir.
I never know that his district, the second congressional district, was so wide. Take it all the way back to the river parishes.
No, it runs from New Orleans to Baton Rouge.
To Baton Rouge. I'm like, what?
The deal is that, you know...
No, Carl. Let's think about it. Hold on. No. It wasn't until... Because, a matter of fact, is our associate, our brother, Nooni Belden Baptiste, point that out. Was like, this one person, right? From New Orleans all the way to Baton Rouge, that's your territory?
That's a elongated district.
How the hell you're gonna represent the people adequately with such a elongated district? You see
Right.
Yeah, that's what.
But let me show you the point. See, people think Cedric Richmond represent the entire New Orleans.
Right.
Who do you think represent the white folks on the lakefront in Lakeview? Steve Calise.
Right.
A right-wing racist.
Uh-huh.
So those rich white people on the lakefront in Lakeview, they don't want a black man represent them. So what they do, they divide New Orleans up and put a large portion of New Orleans in Steve Calise district to represent the wealthy white folks on the lakefront.
But you see how funny it is though, and this is one of the things, this is one of the key issue. So here it is, you got Steve Calise and you got Cedric Richmond, right?
Right.
Now, Cedric Richmond district start from New Orleans to Baton Rouge.
Right.
Why didn't you say, okay, let's not do it like that? Let's make Cedric Richmond stay out because he's actually resident of a homicide out in the east. Let's make New Orleans.
Entire New Orleans.
Entire New Orleans.
But the right. white people don't want a black man representing them as a U.S. congressman. Now I'm going to show you another game they play. They don't want a black congressman representing them in the central business district. That means you own all of the businesses. Cedric Richmond should be the congressman from all the business downtown in New Orleans. But they chop that up and take that district and cut it up and run it all the way to Baton Rouge. Now, why didn't you encompass St. Bernard Parish and Plaquemine Parish in this district? That would be more of a compact district, wouldn't it?
Okay, let me ask you a question, my brother.
What?
You talk about they, right? You talk about they. Who is the they? Who is the people who...
White Republicans in this state.
Okay.
Who has the majority of the people elected, like we discussed earlier, so they get the chance to draw the district lines in 1921. They take the census in 1920. See, you have to know about redistricting and how they draw district lines. Okay? And this is one thing that's been kept from us. You know, I've been involved in this for 50 years.
Right.
I know the game they play. Okay? Where they draw those district lines. How can you represent someone as a U.S. congressman when your district runs from New Orleans to Baton Rouge?
No, that's ridiculous. No, that in itself is ridiculous. Look, we're talking about Orleans Parish, St. James. That's between New Orleans to Baton Rouge. We're talking about like 4 or 5 different parishes, my brother.
You're talking about Jefferson Parish?
Yeah.
St. John Parish? St. James Parish? And a sixth
too
parish.
much
That's 5 parishes.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
too much.
6 East Baton Rouge.
East Baton Rouge.
That's 6 parishes you got to go through.
Too much parishes to. So how can you truly
get? Can that be effective representing 6 parishes?
You can, and that's the reason why. We talk about our people like Cedric Richmond when in the last election. These guys only go to certain communities.
Right.
Certain communities and speak to people, right? And then other because they will come out into New Orleans, right? Or certain part of Baton Rouge, right? And they will speak to a area that have a large amount of people, Right.
But basically,
Because
they go where the people got the money. Because if you're going to run an elongated district
Mhm.
from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, you need a lot of money to run.
right.
Okay? And many of these blacks who run as Democrats get their money from Republicans. See, when black candidates run for office as Democrats and have to go to Republicans to get their money to run, when they get elected, they cannot speak truth to power. They have to vacillate, hesitate, and choice. Procrastinate, put off intentionally. Obfuscate, be evasive. Pontificate, tell the black community a bunch of lies. And capitulate, surrender their political power to their white contributors.
Yeah.
So that's why we have problems in New Orleans. And we have to understand that nobody gonna save us but us for us. Now you take a look at Louisiana. We have 6 congressional districts. Let's take a look at Congressional District 4 and 5. Congressional District 4 runs from Caddo Parish down to Lafayette. That's 227 miles. That's called an elongated district. They do that to dilute the black vote. We should have at least 2 black congresspersons in the U.S. Congress. So they draw district lines and dilute the black vote. Let's take Congressional District 5. It runs from the Arkansas border, Morehouse Parish, all the way down to Bogalusa. That's 241 miles.
Right.
If Anthony Brown wants to run for Congress in Congressional District 5, you will have to advertise in 3 television markets.
You need some money for that, boy.
You have to advertise in Monroe, Alexandria, and Baton Rouge.
Right.
You at least need at least about $3 million to run in that district.
Right.
So how many blacks can afford to spend $3 million to run for Congress?
Right.
So what they do when they draw these districts, they put 65% above Alexandria, Louisiana. From Alexandria, Louisiana, to Interstate 20 in North Louisiana. That area is called the Archibonca area of the state. They know good and well, those white folks between Alexandria and Interstate 20, around Monroe, around Shreveport, they not gonna vote for a black person. So the Republicans are guaranteed to get 2 congressional districts if you put 65% of the district in Central and North Louisiana. You're only going to have about 35% of that district in South Louisiana. So what are your chances of defeating those 2 Republicans in Congressional District 4 and Congressional District 5? So they guaranteed before the election start 2 Republicans districts. Okay? That's the game that's played. Like I said, minorities make up 44% of the population in Louisiana. Whites make up 56%. You got 6 white congressmen and 1 black.
Carl, let's go over this this chart that we got here. We got this chart. This chart outline the gerrymandering in Louisiana as we know it, right?
Right.
You got 2 U.S.
senators. They run statewide.
Okay, 2 seats. You have here no blacks.
Right.
No blacks.
Right.
So in Washington D.C., the territory of Louisiana have 2 senators.
2 senatorial seats.
2 senatorial seats.
Right.
Right. These are white Caucasian. These are
both of them.
These are both
Cassidy
and Kennedy.
The NAACP came out with their report card.
Okay.
When it come down to voting for civil rights issues and human rights issues, the 2 senators from Louisiana got an F. They're not going to vote for anything involving civil rights. For example, H.R. 1 was passed in the House of Representatives in the U.S. Congress. They have yet to cast a ballot. It's going to put Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act back into the 1965 Voting Rights Act.
Right.
You had 5 white Republican congressmen in the House. All 5 of them voted against it. They're talking about civil rights and human rights. They oppose to anything that they think will benefit African Americans and Hispanics.
Let me ask you this key question, Carl. 2 senatorial seats here in Louisiana.
No blacks.
Why is that though? These two.
They run statewide, and like I said, the population, whites make up 56% of the population in Louisiana, and minorities make up 44%.
Okay.
So the numbers are in white folks' favor statewide.
Okay. U.S. Congressman, 6 seats.
1 black.
1 black.
They gerrymandered. They drew the district lines to guarantee Republicans would get elected. Like I told you, those 2 seats that brought a congressional district seat, congressional seat number 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Like I said, 4 run from Shreveport, Louisiana down to Lafayette. Congressional District 5 runs from the Arkansas border to Bogalusa to dilute the black vote.
My brother, let's take a pin for a second and let's watch this video. Listen to this clip right here.
Wrong after we uncover new findings on a state senator who already had to write taxpayers a $20,000 check.
Here's our latest investigation, unexcused absence. On April 29th, SUNO payroll records show Associate Vice Chancellor Wesley Bishop worked 4 hours at the university. Bishop then drove to his part-time job as a state senator in Baton Rouge. That afternoon, he introduced a resolution that could benefit his employer, SUNO.
There may be nothing wrong with the legislation, and it's not unlawful for him to do this. It's not even a violation of the ethics code for legislators, but it smells. It's double dealing.
We've been investigating Bishop for a year. The longtime lawmaker repaid SUNO $20,000 after we uncovered he called in sick at his full-time university job while attending the legislative session. During that investigation, Tulane law professor Joel Friedman criticized SUNO for not firing Bishop. Friedman concluded there's one reason they didn't suspend or terminate his employment.
Why do they continue to allow him to be in the university? There's only one explanation. It's not because he's the world's greatest teacher, administrator, or scholar. It's because he's a member of the state legislature.
And that brings us back to April 29th. Bishop's resolution requested the State Board of Nursing, Southern School of Nursing, and SUNO collaborate on establishing a nursing program at SUNO.
And he's using his legislative office to promote legislation that will help his employer. Not him personally, but his employer. That's why he's got the position at Southern, as far as I'm concerned, or at least that's why they're not doing anything about him after he clearly violated all of their laws and committed a criminal act of fraud.
Bishop's resolution unanimously passed the full Senate.
At least he should have had the sophistication, if he wanted to draft a legislation like this, to have somebody else sponsor it who doesn't work for Southern. But he didn't even bother. He's brazen about it. He's brazen about all of this, Lee.
In a statement, SUNO told us the resolution was not meant to advance legislation. Rather, its aim was to bring a formal awareness to the conversation. A SUNO spokesperson added Senator Bishop's offering of this resolution was in keeping with his role as a legislator, representing the interests of a constituent within his district.
The only reason they're keeping him on and they're not disciplining and they're not even making him pay all the money that he should be paying back to them is because he's coming through for them on the legislative side. You know, that's the quid pro quo, I believe.
But according to the state's ethics code, it's not illegal.
Why do you think the ethics code should not allow this?
Because it is self-dealing. It's exactly that point. It encourages legislators to find employment, paid employment for other entities, and then as the quid pro quo, provide legislation. It's classic self-dealing.
According to SUNO's faculty handbook, Bishop is responsible for the evaluation and improvement of course planning and curriculum. So Friedman says this resolution is clearly an intersection of his full and part-time jobs.
I'm not saying the nursing program is a bad thing for SUNO. But if it's a good thing for SUNO, it ought to be promoted by somebody who's not an employee. Not only an employee, but one of the highest ranking administrative officials.
Bishop did not.
We, in recognition of black people who came before us, in recognition of our ancestors, in recognition of Mother Africa, in recognition of those who deem it fit, saw it necessary to take action in a time when taking action was tantamount to signing your death warrant. We make mention, we continue to make mention, we continue to recognize, we continue to pay homage, we continue to keep the name of our ancestors on the forefront. We continue to pass the information to younger generations about these ancestors. We recognize the fact that many of them names aren't in the history books, and you won't see it or find it in the history books. To our ancestors, we say thank you. To our ancestors, we say much love. To our ancestors, we say may your spirit rest in peace. We speak of the Right Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Nanny from the Maroon, Paul Bogle, Fred Hamilton, Maurice Bishop, Malcolm X, Carter G. Wilson, Harriet Tubman, Thomas Sankara, Samuel McKell, Bookman Duty, Toussaint Louverture, Jack Dessalines. Now, family, these are just a few of our ancestors who we idolize or who we pay tribute to every time we get a chance to do that. And we have to do that. If we don't do it, no one else gonna do it. We take that challenge up on ourselves because they first spoken for us. They first not only speak, but they took action for us, family. When you look, we can pick from this list, we can just pick anybody name randomly, but for those of you who know, my favorite right here is this 5'4" short, beautiful black sister. Always keep packing. Always, every time you see her, you could see her with a pump action and a pistol. I know who that pump action and a pistol was. No, not for the white European masters, not for the colonialists, no. For those coward, weak-ass Negroes who she would free, and they get so scared and weak and jittery, they tend to run away. She tell them, look, if you move your black ass, my pump action is going on. Right? That's the reason why I love this. Let me tell you something, man. Look, I love all of them, family. I love all of them. And these are the people who give me my voice, my spirit. When I think back, and Carl,
yes,
when I think back on our ancestors, Carl, and what they go through, what they went through in a time, Carl, let's imagine. We have black people right here, right now, who call themselves elected officials. We have black people right here, right now, who call themselves civil rights leaders or whatever you want. And if an issue come up, they run and hide like a goddamn wet rat.
Now that's a great point you raised. Now, like I said, Louisiana is the most gerrymandered state in the Deep South. How many meetings have our black elected officials called to address this issue?
Right.
Town hall meetings, forum, seminars, retreat with civil rights leaders. You've been out there fighting for a long time.
Right.
But somehow they are afraid to meet with us as a whole.
Right.
And share ideas. That's what they need to do. I got some information to share with them to help increase the number of black people in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, the Bessie Board, judgeships. Now let me show you what's going on in these rural parishes, which I was shocked in some of those parishes.
Right.
In order for you to get elected to a judgeship, you got to run parish-wide. The same as running county-wide.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they draw them into single-member districts where blacks can get elected? Let's give you an example. Tangipahoa Parish is about 40% African-American. In the history of Tangipahoa Parish, they have never had a black judge. You take St. Helena Parish, it's majority black. They have never had a black judge. In order to dilute the black vote, they incorporated St. Helena Parish and Livingston Parish into the same district. So if you ran for judgeships, you have to run in both parishes, St. Helena Parish and Livingston Parish.
Right.
Shouldn't the people in St. Helena have their own judges? They got more whites live in Livingston Parish than blacks in St. Helena Parish. So they combine the two to get the blacks off of the judgeship bench by not allowing them to get on the judgeship bench, by diluting their vote, by incorporating Livingston Parish with St. Helena Parish. And you go in these rural parishes, you got people 50 and 60 years of age that they have never seen a black judge.
Right.
How is that here in this state? You're talking about whites make up 56% of the population, and sitting at 78% of the judgeship is held by whites.
No, Carl, let me tell you something. Let's go back to this, because the truth about it, despite your political belief or your racial belief, numbers speak heavily and speak for itself, right? So here it is in Washington, D.C., when it comes to the Senate. So in the Senate in Washington, D.C., there is no blacks representing us, or there's no black person. And
two whites and no blacks.
Okay, no, look, okay, we're speaking from a racial point of view right now. The U.S. Congress seat, you got 6 seats, 1 black.
Mm-hmm.
State Supreme Court judges, 7 seats, 1 black.
George Burnett Johnston.
Right.
In fact, you had an issue before a court.
Look. That's another show. State senators, 39 seats.
9 blacks.
9 blacks. State representative, 105 seats. There's a disparity here, Carl.
It's a serious disparity.
There's a disparity.
And they're only 56% of the population of the state.
There's a disparity here. No, look, this is what I'm saying. The truth about it. The argument can be made, and that's why we played this video a while ago with this clown right here. What's his name? Bishop, right? Look, there's many arguments that can be made, right, on this issue. But for right now, we're gonna stick with what's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And what's obvious right here, Carl, is that there's a disparity in terms of a racial disparity.
Right.
When it comes to what we are looking at.
Right.
There's no debating that.
Right.
It's here in black and white.
Right.
105. That's like 90% state representative seat, and 25 of that is
24,
black.
24
that is black. State senators, 39 seats, 9 is black. So we're talking about significant. Look,
they have no political power.
Yeah.
So you can't get no bill passed if they got 105 seats, only 24 blacks. See, that's why we cannot get vendors contracts out the state and construction contracts. Because the deal is that whites have all the political power and you have a white governor. So, other words, whites are guaranteed to get the construction contract and the vendor's contract. The last legislative session, they adopted a $30 billion budget. So the question I raise to you, Brother Anthony, what percentage of that's going into contract and what percentage African Americans are going to receive?
Right. Well, right here, it shows this stats shows that based on this, look, and again, so let's look at it from a political party standpoint. These blacks right here, does the white population or does the white elected official represent a specific political party like the Republican Party and the blacks Democrat Party?
Right.
That's how it actually breaks down.
Well, but that's where it breaks down. The blacks we have there, they ran as Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But many of them went to Republican, got money for their campaign.
Right.
No, so, asking these white Republicans to be fair to African Americans is like asking Count Dracula to guard a blood bank. They're not going to be fair. You got to take power. Nobody gives you power.
Yeah.
And when people begin to give power away, you got to go out and fight and win it. That's the only way you get power in America.
The best board. What's that board?
Now that board controls all of the 64 parish education system.
So
they control the money for education.
Okay.
Okay? You talking about 11 seats, only 2 blacks.
Yeah.
They control the budget for the schools in this parish. That's how they was able to run this game on the people called recovery school districts.
All right.
Now let me show you a case in point.
Mm-hmm.
The Orleans Parish school system received millions of dollars to build new schools, renovate schools, and refurbish schools. They received $1,800,000,000. They built 25 brand new schools. Can you name me a black person in New Orleans that received the prime contract?
No.
25 brand new schools.
No, a matter of fact, look, as a business person, I can speak from that point too. Because, even when you go there, right, and you bid on these schools, and you're the lowest bidder, and that's what the system set up. The system is designed that the lowest bidder get the contract. You know what? They told us. They told us, look, you never do this before, or they try many different ways and not giving black contractors any of this work.
Let me tell you what they did after Hurricane Katrina. Like I said, $1,800,000,000 came into the city for the Orleans Parish School Board to build 25 new schools, to renovate schools, to refurbish schools. It came to a grand total of 75 schools.
Right.
What the white Republicans did, they got the legislature in Baton Rouge to adopt requirements for insurance. They said your bid bond, your performance bond, and your payment bond, and your general liability must be with a company listed with the latest AM Best rating guide, and the company must have an A or A- rating. I called the Commissioner of Insurance office. They couldn't provide me with one name of an insurance company in Louisiana that had an A or A- rating listed with the AM Best rating guide. So what they was able to do was to create criteria to bid on insurance to systematically exclude black people.
Right.
So other words, if you are a DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise,
right,
person, and you want to get business, and no way in the world you could get a bid bond, performance bond, or payment bond with a company with an A or A- rating.
Yeah, that's
so that systematically excludes you through the bid process.
Right.
They didn't establish this after Hurricane Katrina. and $71 billion came into Louisiana from Hurricane Katrina. Now name me a black unit out of that $71 billion that came into this state after Katrina to receive the prime contract out of that $71 billion. They used the big requirements to systematically exclude you.
Let me show you something, brother. Let me show you something. What I look.
Talk to me.
I keep this in my handy dandy package right here because people think that when we speak, we are just speaking because we have a platform to speak, or we don't have, we don't have nothing else better to do. We talk about this money coming here to Louisiana, this $71 billion.
Hurricane Katrina, $71 billion, and you can't name me one black received a prime contract.
We were not even capable, or we weren't even qualified, Carl.
You were qualified, but think about it. They use trickery to keep you from getting contracts.
Look, let me tell you this. We weren't even qualified, according to them, right, to cut grass after Katrina. We weren't qualified. And they went, let me find it, they went and find a couple of guys from God know where these white guys came from, right? But the bottom line is these guys wasn't here pre-Katrina, and these are the guys who would have paid millions of dollars to cut grass.
Out of Baton Rouge, I remember that contract.
You remember, right? You see?
A company out of Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Got the contract to cut the grass in New Orleans. You mean we don't have enough intelligence to cut grass?
That's what I'm
telling you. Let me tell you another trick they pull. Picking up trash. They put out a $500 million contract to a company to pick up trash in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. After they got the contract, they subbed it out and paid it to a smaller contract, in which they took about $200 or $300 million off the top and subbed it out for the people to pick up the trash. And this is the kind of game that they play. Now, why would you bundle a contract to pick up trash and make it $500 million? Now, you know good well if they require you to get a bond. How many blacks can go into an insurance company and get a $500 million bond? So that's how this trickery is. I didn't hear one word from the Black Caucus in Baton Rouge. I didn't hear one word from the city council.
Right. And look.
Now, if you go back and trace our history back to Africa, the first skyscraper in the world was built in Egypt. In Luxor, Egypt, was the first skyscraper built in the world, was built in Egypt. The tallest pyramid is in Hufa, in Egypt.
But yet still...
The pyramid been there for 5,000 years, and yet in America we can't build a school? Come on, man.
No, we can't cut grass.
We can't cut grass, we can't pick up trash.
We can't cut grass. And that's...
To add insult to injury, they got about 50 funeral homes within about a 100-mile radius of New Orleans. They did not allow funeral homes to pick up dead bodies after Hurricane Katrina.
Hold on.
They gave the contract to white folks.
Hold on, Carl. Check this out, man. This is what we're talking about. $18 million.
To cut grass.
Look, these are the guys right here. Two white guys.
Have mercy.
$18 million. Task Force LLC.
Good God from Zion.
No, you got people.
Roland Kimbrough and Jack Everstein.
Yes, sir.
Got the contract.
Yes, sir.
To cut grass in New Orleans.
Yes, sir. So what I'm trying to tell you, Carl.
Why the media didn't put this on TV?
No.
Why the white media did not put this on TV? Here, two white guys out of Baton Rouge got the contract to cut grass after Hurricane Katrina.
No.
Then they got a company out of state got the contract to pick up the trash after Hurricane Katrina. You tell me, black people,
we're not qualified.
We pick up grass, to cut grass.
We don't
have to pick up trash.
We don't have the technical expertise and the technical know-how. We ain't educated enough, we ain't informed enough, we ain't intelligent enough to cut grass. But you know why? Because this grass right here is special. this grass come with a price tag of $18 million. So
but you failed to mention, at this time, we had a black mayor named Ray Nagin. And we had a majority black city council allow those folks to give out an $18 million contract, and they claim they got a DPE.
And therein lies the problem, my brother. And therein lies the gray area. And that's what we talk about in many of these cases.
Let's repeat these two contracts again.
Yeah.
$18 million called Task Force LLC, Limited Liability Corporation, to cut grass in New Orleans with all these unemployment young black males. And you give out a $500 million contract to pick up trash after Hurricane Katrina. You had a black mayor. At the time, you had 5 black city councilmen. I'm going to call their name. Oliver Thomas, Renee Gill Pratt, James Carter on the east bank of New Orleans.
Right.
Cynthia Hayes Morrell and Cynthia Willard Lewis.
Right.
How in the hell can 5 black people sit on a city council and allow white folks to give out a $500 million contract to pick up trash, and you don't try to stop it and demand that they hire black folks?
Man, look.
That's a slap in the face.
That's one out of many. We have companies coming here and doing work with the Sewage and Water Board to the tune of $100 million, right? We have other companies coming here. Look. We have a $2 billion. Look on this, Carl. $2 billion. Look on this, my brother. $2 billion.
Drainage system.
$2 billion spent to repair pipelines.
To fix pipelines. Streets, drainage system.
Western Canal Street.
Man. And most of the money was spent on Louisiana Avenue, Napoleon Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, South Claiborne Avenue, St. Charles Avenue, and Magazine Street. $2 billion.
Look.
And guess what?
Black people,
70% of black people in the world live east of Canal Street going towards Slidell. So how much of that $2 billion did they spend east of Canal Street going towards Slidell?
They spent this
money in white areas.
That's what I'm talking about.
The Upper Garden District and the Lower Garden District.
And people don't understand the frustration when we speak about all this money. Look, it's right here, my brother. Under the Bush administration.
But let's complete this first.
Okay.
They put in new pumps, new sewage and water lines, new drainage lines, new water lines, paved main streets, and put lights on the neutral ground. That's going to increase the value of their property uptown.
Yes, sir.
What about Lower Ninth Ward? What about Upper Nine? What about the Zion, Florida?
What about the fact that Hurricane Katrina was categorized as major, severe, and minor? What about the fact that the zip codes that was associated with that severe and major is zip code like 70127, 70128 out there in New Orleans East, the Lower Ninth Ward?
Let me call them out. I got them in my mind. Let me hit them right now. These predominantly black zip codes in this city.
Right.
70117.
Right.
That's the Lower Ninth Ward. 70119. That runs from Orleans Avenue down by the pumping station down by the London Canal. 70122 takes in part of the 8th Ward and part of the 7th Ward.
Right.
70126 take in the Zion, Florida area, Indian Village, Gentilly Woods, Pontchartrain Park, and part of New Orleans East. 70127 and 28, that's in New Orleans East. How much of that $2 billion did they spend in those areas?
Not 1 red cent. Not one.
Well, the majority black city council.
Not one. No, you know,
this makes you sick.
It does. You know what makes me sicker? Here it is. We have evidence, right? This is not even the half. But here it is a few weeks ago. Latoya Cantrell, the present mayor right now, went and requested money from John Bell Edwards to the tune of $70 million. She wanted over $70 million. He gave her $50 million, right? Now, what are they saying that this $50 million is for? Is for infrastructure.
Where? As part of the city.
As it relates to sewage and water board. Now, what they go, look, let me show you something, Carl. Look, here's another.
You got the documentation, brother.
Here's another article, man. This, let me tell you something. Let me read something for you real quick. This article, it says, it's a publication. A matter of fact, this is a publication from not a New Orleans what you call it, media house, but from the Atlanta Journal, right?
Yes.
Listen to what it says. Sewage is a water sewer line slowly deteriorate in New Orleans. Let me just read certain highlighted part for you. This is what it says. The city sewer. Let me get my glasses, man, because
That's heavy drama. They're reading out loud.
let me get my glasses, man, because you see, when we talk, this is what people don't understand or don't. Why we? The city sewer and water board says at least 50 million gallons of water a day are now being lost to leakage.
How many gallons?
50 million. Right. No, this right here is pre-Katrina. Right? $50 million
That had to be post-Katrina. But the water line was damaged by Katrina. So after Katrina, we were losing 50 million gallons of water?
Through the extent of the problem unclear. Well, look, let's read it. It says the city sewage and water board says at least 50 million gallons of water a day are now being lost to leakage.
That's after Katrina.
Are 2.5 times pre-Katrina.
Go ahead.
So post-Katrina, they got 50 million gallons a day, right?
After Katrina.
Right, after Katrina, right? Officials also believe new sewage and new raw sewer is leaking and took place through the existence of problem unclear. The larger fear is that if no water pumps fail, the large fear is that if some water pumps fail, whether because of the power outage, some other kind of mechanical trouble, or other Katrina-like storm, a drastic drop in pressure could allow raw sewer or other pollution to back up into the water system. No, that's not what I want to go. I want to read something else. Where it says, as of the city continuous growth, it is estimated at 22. That's not it. Okay, what they are saying right here is that the work or okay, here we go. Sewage and Water Board estimate. Listen to this, Carl. Sewage and Water Board estimates that rebuilding and improving the water, sewer and drainage system will cost $5.7 billion.
Now, why the local papers didn't print that? Now, you said that came out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Right. 5.7. So what they are saying, with $5.7 billion, the water system in New Orleans will be the top of the line, will be perfect. You see, $5.7 billion.
I would like to know how much money they spent in the Lower Ninth Ward, Upper Nine, Desire, Florida, and New Orleans East repairing these water lines.
No,
I would like to know that.
We know that they spend $2 billion where? Where they spend this $2 billion, Carl? Uptown. Louisiana Avenue, Napoleon Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, South Claiborne Avenue. So they spend $2 billion. So if this estimate post Katrina of 5.7 and they spend $2 billion, that $2 billion is supposed to cover a vast majority.
It's supposed to cover the community that was hit the hardest.
The hardest, but it's not. It's not. But listen to what FEMA says. FEMA says, money is the federal government, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA, has set aside $150 million so far, and expect to continue tens of millions of dollars. So we know that there's $150 million. Look, it's not including to this $2 million, right? There's $150 million plus they say that there's tens of $1 million is that they're gonna continue to give. But let's read on. It says, but the agency won't cover the entire cost. FEMA says that under federal law, it only has to pay to bring the system back up to its pre-Katrina level. Sewage and Water Board is acting to raise money on its own. No, Sewage and Water Board acting to raise money on its goddamn own. That's BS. Sewage and Water Board, Carl, have a system, have a revenue system that they have a monopoly on. You see, they have a monopoly on this water board system. They are charging people. Look, if you look, 70% of your bill, 70% of your bill is taxes, right? 30% of it is actual costs, right? So they have a monopoly on this water system here in Louisiana. They have a constant revenue coming in. So post Katrina, they went and they claimed that, look, they have to increase people water bill to generate funds. Bullshit. They didn't have to do that.
You give me a flashback. I remember when I was in Atlanta. I stayed in Atlanta, Georgia 5 years after Hurricane Katrina. Mm-hmm. That was right after we got to Atlanta. We was in the Atlanta Light Building, and Shirley Franklin called the mayor of Atlanta, called Ray Nagin and put him on the speakerphone.
Right.
She said, I got 11 licensed contractors to send to New Orleans to help clean up New Orleans and employ many of the people that had to flee New Orleans because of Hurricane Katrina. And I remember on the speakerphone that Nagin said his hands was tied. How in the hell your hands are tied and you the mayor and you had a major disaster and someone wanted to send 11 contractors to help clean up and rebuild New Orleans and you tell them your hands are tied? Well, black people don't make handcuffs or ropes. So who tied your hand?
Hey, you know something, Carl?
I'm saying to you, I remember that conversation because people was concerned about who was going to clean up and rebuild New Orleans. She had 11 contractors, and she wanted to send us contractors to New Orleans so they could hire these evacuees from New Orleans, and he said his hands are tied. Well, who untied his hands to allow white folks to come in? In fact, he met with white folks over in Dallas, Texas, and they are the people that tore down those 4 housing projects. I grew up in the project. You had the Magnolia Project, the Lafitte Project, the Kelly Project, and the St. Bernard Project. White folks tore those 4 projects down, and they the one built those apartments on those sites. See, a lot of people don't know one of the main reasons is white people want to tear those projects down. Those were custom bricks made with 100% clay. They stopped making bricks out of clay in the early 70s. Those are custom bricks. You could clean those bricks and get $3 a piece for them. Where have all those bricks that came out of the Magnolia Project, the Calliope Project, the Lafitte Project, and the St. Bernard, where are those bricks? Who got access to those bricks? Nobody knows anything about that. You had hardwood doors in those projects. You had copper in those projects. Who are the recipients of the goods that was salvaged out of those 4 housing projects?
Black politicians here in Louisiana or here in New Orleans like to use that term. And because you said it, I had a flashback.
What's that?
That the hands are tied. That the hands are tied.
Who tied their hands?
Who tied their hands? Look.
You mean to tell me you got a majority black city council and a black mayor and a mayor from another city run by a black mayor, female mayor, call you and want to assist you, send contractors to New Orleans, and you tell her your hands are tied?
Right. And
who tied your hand?
You supposed to be the mayor. The mayor, the CEO. Look, I, when you say that, I remember back in 2017. Back in 2017.
Yes.
Back in 2017, when they had the court, the election, and you had this female, this so-called black female running for the 4th Circuit Court of Appeal from District B, Tiffany Chase, right? When she ends up disqualifying a candidate that was actually on the ballot running for public office, right? And when she did that, look, she been to law school, she have a law degree, she called herself a judge. She was actually on the ballot running for the appellate court. And the way how she conduct herself in the courtroom, she just pandered to her associates that was there, right? But she actually did wrong by the candidate who she disqualified from the ballot. Now, when she was accosted out there in the real world, you know, her argument was my hands are tied.
But let me say this.
She was like, I'm like, what? You are the judge sitting presiding over this case, and you're gonna tell me that somebody outside the courtroom pulling your string to the fact that you're gonna commit atrocity or malfeasance in the courtroom? Her hands were tied.
Well, let me tell you something better than that. Are you aware that the Nagin administration got $3,500,000 from the Rockefeller Foundation to put together a plan called Bring Back New Orleans Commission? That Bring Back New Orleans Commission wanted to make everything east of Franklin Avenue a green space. Who lives east of Franklin Avenue? That's 90% black. Can you imagine somebody want to take that area and make it a green space? Now, the person who was behind this in Louisiana named Richard Baker, who was a congressman out of Baton Rouge. And what we had, 2 blacks on the FEMA committee in the U.S. Congress, talking about Cynthia McKinney from Atlanta, Georgia, and Benny Thompson from Mississippi. They led the fight to kill the bill in committee to make everything east of Franklin Avenue green space. They kept it from getting to the floor. If those Republicans could have gotten this bill to the floor, it would have passed. Can you imagine how many black people live east of Franklin Avenue? You're talking about Lower Ninth Ward, Desire, Florida, Pine Village, Gentilly Wood, Pine Strain Park, New Orleans East. Who lives there?
Black people.
Black people.
Yeah. Black people.
And yet, black people sit on this Bring Back New Orleans Commission, and they drafted this from a grant they got from the Rockefeller Foundation, $3,500,000 to put together this Bring Back New Orleans Commission. They want to turn New Orleans East into an airport. But my point I'm raising, man, it's something going on wrong in this city that we need to correct it.
Look, Carl.
You know, and in fact that Cynthia McKinney called me, because she's been in New Orleans every time. She said, Carl, here in this FEMA committee, I got a bill by Richard Baker that want to make everything east of Franklin Avenue a green space. And it claimed it's supported by the mayor and business folks. And I got in my car, I said, let me get over by your office on Lawrence Parkway, Lawrence Road in Atlanta, Georgia. And she showed it to me. She said, I can't believe this. And not one outcry from a black elected official in this city.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why. And that's why right now I tell people.
But I want you to, I've been to City Hall a number of times. I'm trying to find the paperwork from this $3,500,000 that was given by the Rockefeller Foundation.
Right.
Who in the hell put this package together? That you're going to try to force blacks out of New Orleans East, out of Pine Strain Park, Gentilly Wood, Pine Village, and Desire, Florida. who in the hell put together a package like this to push all those black folks out of New Orleans East?
Let me tell you something, man. I can tell you who it is. A company by the name of CivicSource.com. A criminal by the name of Mitch Landrum. Another criminal by the name of Errol G. Williams. Let me tell you something. It was by design, and that's why the fight back is on. When they come and they try to gentrify New Orleans East. You see, look, people have been losing their property here rapidly at a pace never seen before, and you have to ask the question why. But information like this tell us why. You see what I'm saying? They want to take away for some reason the green space. So where everybody east of Franklin gonna believe in.
Are you aware today there's over 70,000 people live in New Orleans East?
Yes, I know that.
We pay 40% of the tax base in this city.
Right.
40%. And some fool want to make that area a green space.
To benefit who? To benefit who?
Now that's the big question.
To benefit who? A green space is, and that's what I'm saying. Look,
but they wanted to make New Orleans East from Diamond Road, that sanctuary out there, what you call that? In New Orleans East off I-10. They want to run that area make a airport in New Orleans East. I found out that's what they was working on to keep blacks from coming back and take that area, make an airport out, and put an airport out in New Orleans East.
Oh yeah.
And disperse blacks in New Orleans East, so they put an airport.
That's what. Look. We don't know how many different conversations or how many different meetings they have with
Bayou Savage, isn't it?
With that, yeah.
With Bayou Savage, it was gonna run Troy Slidell, the runways.
Right.
And they want to take that and make it out of a green space. But the question is that out of that $3.5 million that came from the Rockefeller Foundation, where is the invoices, the paper trail on who got that $3.5 million? Where did that money go? Look, we should be able to get this information out of the finance department and council research. Who was the people that benefited from that $3.5 million? Did you know?
I don't. But look, let's say that money is private money and come through a private channel.
But it was given to the city.
Hold on.
It become public record.
Hold on, my brother. Hold on. Look, I hear you. But let's give it to them. That money was private money and funneled to private channels. We're talking about $71 billion, which we know ain't nothing private about that crap. Which we know that's public funds, right? We know that come from the federal government. Different departments within the federal send that money come here. We can't get. We are asking for a scientific analysis of that funds. We are asking for a paper trail of that funds. We are asking to see if that funds have been spent. Where did that funds spend? We are asking to see, did they follow the guidelines as it was written, as it relates to the aftermath of Katrina being declared a disaster era, major, severe, and minor, and the zip codes that's associated with that. We want to know all of this. Nobody ain't telling us jack, Carl, or nobody have been telling us nothing about that.
The baby said this, it took me 10 years to find out why blacks got less money from the Road Home program than white folks. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund filed a lawsuit regarding 20,000 blacks being discriminated against because of some formula they claim they use. I found out that they use a computer automated appraisal of homes in those 6 black zip codes. Or automated computer appraisal. How can you appraise a house by a computer when you can only see the outside of the house, the exterior, not the interior. And this is how what they did. They praised black folks' houses in 6 zip codes that was predominantly black. 70117, 70119, 70122, 70126, 2728. But they used license appraisals when they were in white neighborhoods and made the appraisal. It cost me $135,000 to get into my house, to get back in my house. You know how much they gave me to rebuild my house?
No.
$23,000.
My brother, look, man, look, man. We need more time than this to speak to you and all these important issues. But I'm going to say this before we have to leave. $71 billion, and it's based on what you just said a while ago. $71 billion were obtained on pre-Katrina population number.
455,000 people, and over 100,000 blacks that get to return.
This money came here based on pre-Katrina numbers, based on
455,000
pre-Katrina population. Okay, so and to date, we ain't seen that population return. You see, I'm talking about.
Where did the money go?
A matter of fact, lot of those people deceased too. So we are asking the question: where is all that money? We don't see it. We don't see. No, not only that we don't see it or we don't know where that money go. Right? We haven't seen no work. So they can look. If we could, if we say, okay, $71 billion came here, and the streets out there in New Orleans East was paved with goddamn gold. Yeah, not like all my streets and your streets where you have these potholes, and you know, if not like the fact that we have so much water advisory to boil our water, not like we have so much dark streets. So you see what I'm saying? If we have so much, right? Let me tell you something, nobody can tell us that the money was spent right for what it was supposed to do.
But let me tell you about this.
Look, my brother. Look, we have to come back, man. The time is against us, man. Look, it's so powerful. Look, to everybody that's joined us on Facebook and leaving the comments. Look, sorry we couldn't get you involved in the conversation, but I will reply. Look, family, it's again, Carl, it's always a pleasure and an honor to have you here, my brother.
All right, it's a pleasure, brother. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure and honor to have you here, man.
Where did the money go?
Where did the money go? We don't know. Look, we're going to find out, though. Look, family, this is your brother and host, Anthony Brown, saying much love. Peace.